complaint today. It is 7:47 p.m. on Friday, September 6th. Customer said that the walk-in freezer hasn't been working all day. It was up to 30 degrees in here, but they said all of a sudden now it's coming down in temp. It's probably about 5 degrees in here. So let's head outside. It looks like we're running. I don't think it's a thermostat problem per se. All the fan motors are running. The coil's clear of ice. Fan motor, or the temperature controller, looks to be set right. It's set for about -18. Let's go ahead and head outside and investigate the condensing unit. See if we've got a dirty condenser or what's going on. This is my walk-in freezer condenser. So we've got a clear sight glass. There's a lot of heat coming out of this coil right now. A lot of heat. So let's go get some service gauges. Get the covers pulled off. I mean, there's air movement, but it might be dirty internally. We'll have to see. All right, I'm gonna get some service gauges and that'll tell us everything. This is really interesting. So according to Measure Quick, look right here, we've got a 302 head pressure, 16 suction pressure. That equates to a -14 evaporator, 119 condensing temp. It is 100 degrees outside, 98 degrees. This compressor is running. Now, the customer said that when they came in this afternoon, like at 4 p.m. when this call came in, the ice cream was liquid, but the evaporator fan motors were running. Now, that's a very important piece of information because that evaporator is controlled from that disconnect switch. Power comes into here and then runs over to the evaporator from this condensing unit. So if the evaporator fan motors inside were running, more than likely we had the correct power out here, but they don't know for sure if this was running. When I walked up, this was already running, okay? I thought it was gonna be like a dirty condenser or something like that. That's not the case. According to Measure Quick, I mean, not according to it, but I mean, looking at our temperatures, the box temperature is 2 degrees right now. So the box is kicking butt, coming down to temp. The condensing temp over ambient is approximately 20 degrees. That's not bad. We definitely don't want anything over 30 degrees. The compressor is not over amping. We have a good amount of oil in the sight glass. About half a sight glass. Everything is operating. Liquid injection is feeding. We've got cold gas coming through the capillary tube device, going into the compressor, cooling it off. According to Copeland Mobile, I put the information in here, all the data, my pressures and everything. We are no issue with the current draw and where it's at. We're 5.6 difference between the actual and the rated current draw. It says normal variation. Everything's good with that. Yeah, this is really interesting. So what is going on here? So they said it was 30 degrees. By the time I got here, and look at, we're starting to frost now coming through liquid injection. So it's getting cold. The box temp is almost down to temp. Like in another 45 minutes, it's gonna satisfy. What is going on here? What would have caused all that ice cream inside the walk-in freezer to melt and for the box to go completely down? Again, the customer said that the evaporator fan motors were running, but the customer, the manager that I was talking to, got here about 4 p.m. We don't know what happened throughout the day. We do know that they got a product delivery today, and we do know that, I asked them, did they shut the disconnect off? They said no. They have a twist timer inside the box. That's a 15-minute twist timer, pumps the system down, they load the box. So what I'm wondering, other than checking the temp control, because the temp control could also be a problem, but if they said the box was at 30 degrees, we're almost down, we're at 1 degree right now, 1.7 degrees. This is really odd. If it was a bad temperature controller, I don't think it'd be getting down to 1 degree, but we're gonna watch it. We're gonna go check the temp control. But I kind of suspect that twist timer. It's a 15-minute intermatic twist timer that you just twist, and then it automatically springs back. And what I wanna know is, well, there could be a lot of things, right? It was extremely hot today, like 115. When that happens, we get low voltage. So in theory, we could have had low voltage causing the compressor to go off on thermal overload, but we've got a walk-in cooler condenser right next to it that they were not complaining about. The idea is that both of these come from the same breaker. I know they do, the breaker panel, I should say, not same breaker, but the same breaker panel. So the voltage would affect everything. They're not complaining about ACs or anything, so don't necessarily think it's going to be a voltage related problem. There's no voltage drop across the contactor. I did check that. The time clock is about 3 hours out of defrost. It's always possible that the time clock was stuck in defrost, but when the customer got here at 4, the fans were running, so that wouldn't be a defrost issue, but it could have happened before. We should probably check the pump down, see what happens when we pump the system down. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and pump it down. We're going to turn the timer. This timer is also kind of hard to turn. Uh-oh, why isn't it going into defrost? Let me turn it a little bit better. There we go. Now we're going into defrost. See, the red light came on. We pumped right down, no problem. Let's see what it turns back on at, low pressure wise. It's not bleeding by. So when it pumped down, it did not, it shut the liquid line solenoid valve inside the box and the system shut off, okay? Now by checking pump down, we're also checking the low pressure control to see where it cuts in and cuts out at. We're trying to figure out why. Nothing operational right now on the compressor is indicating there's a problem with it. So I mean, it's possible it could have gone off on thermal overload, but when we were running, we weren't excessively high on the head pressure. What is going on here? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and turn it back on. See where it turns on at as far as suction pressure goes. Solenoid valves opening up. Suction pressure, that suction pressure is coming up really slow. Why is it dragging butt to come up? This should have already turned back on. Yeah, this guy's on. The solenoid valve inside should have opened. And the pressure should have come back up. Unless, no? What is going on? This is interesting. So we should be opening the liquid line solenoid valve inside, and it should be letting the refrigerant flow back through, and it should be bringing the low pressure up enough to turn it back on. I'm going to get in here and test to see if this defrost timer's sending power to the solenoid valve correctly. We have 208 volts at the number 4 and the N terminal at the defrost clock. That's sending power inside to the evaporators, and we still haven't turned on. We don't have we do have a time delay. We have a time delay. So we gotta wait for that time delay to time out. But this is a good thing because we can time it to make sure it's not bad. That's why we didn't turn back on, because it has a time delay right in here. Okay, so we're gonna give it a minute and I'll start a timer. Time delay cut back in. It was only 40 seconds, but remember, that's a 90-second timer, I think. Yeah, it's a 90-second timer, and I didn't turn it on until after. So no, time delay is working. We turned back on. Pressure control was set for right at 30 psi. So that is working. Pump down's working. So another thing, if it was a dirty condenser, if it was overcharged, when it pumps down, you would have seen the head pressure go sky high. That wasn't the case. It pumped down effortlessly, no problem. So the time delay is working. Liquid injection seems to be working. There's no telling if the liquid injection's restricted and it's not feeding properly when it's really hot outside. That's hard to say. But it's 100 degrees outside right now. You'd think if we had a problem, it would show itself. Interesting. All right, well, I'm gonna go inside and have a look, and maybe we're gonna test that pump down timer inside, put a stopwatch on it and see how long it takes to turn back on. All right, my box is currently, let's see if I got a thermometer right here. It's currently 6 degrees in the box, air temperature. Let's go ahead and see where this thermostat's clicking. It's not bad. I mean, it's about 5 degrees off. We have it set for negative 20-ish. So that'll be fine. Not worried about the thermostat, that's working. Actually, I don't necessarily need to be negative 20. I'm gonna be right. It was set just above negative 20, which will be fine. That'll get us about negative 12 in the box or something. Which, yeah, that'll be fine on that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now let's test the pump down timer. All right, we've got a twist timer right here that they twist. So let's go ahead and turn it to the 15-minute mark. Okay, and we're gonna start a timer. And we're gonna see how long it takes for this to turn back on. It should turn on in 15 minutes. If it doesn't, if it takes longer, then that might be our problem, because they did turn that today, the cooks did, when the manager wasn't here when they got a delivery. So sometimes I've seen those things stick. So what the heck happened? That's my timer going off right now, telling me. Yeah, they just turned on. It's been 15 minutes exactly. That timer is working perfectly. So what the heck is going on? It started back up on its own. Pressure control's working fine. I've seen this delay timer work. It's just, you know, turning it back on in 90 seconds, so it's not like the delay timer was getting stuck. It's a possibility we were going off on high pressure today. I mean, it was ridiculously hot. So I guess that's always a possibility. Where's the high pressure control? Down there. It's a very good possibility that we were cycling on high pressure. We're not running abnormally high pressures for the ambient temps, but I mean, it was 115 today though, so we're not getting return temp for some reason right now. But outdoor temp's about 95. Oh, there we go. 12 degrees in the box from letting it be off for 15 minutes and people going in and out of it. The compressor doesn't seem to be over amping. It's not a dirty condenser. Before I leave, I'm gonna rinse the condenser just for giggles, because I got a hose right there. So I'll rinse it just for giggles, but I don't know what's going on here. This guy's running. It's 11 degrees in the box. 95 outside. It's crazy how hot it is when it's 9 o'clock at night and it's 95 degrees outside. That's crazy, huh? I don't see anything wrong here. I really don't. It's really bizarre because they said it was like 30 degrees, and like I said, the ice cream's soft. It is. But the box was at like 5 degrees when I got here. I came about 4 hours after they put the service call because I was just busy doing other calls. Defrost timer did not have the right time on it, so I'm gonna make sure I set the time on the defrost timer. We'll take out this big old long defrost that I put in there. We'll make sure we set the time. I'll probably do a follow-up maybe tomorrow. I don't know what else to tell them on this. Unless, like, I really wish I could come back tomorrow in the middle of the heat of the day, because it's gonna be hot again tomorrow. Not 115, but I think it's gonna be about 110. If I could come out here when it's 110 and see what the system's doing, that'd be great. But I mean, everything seems to be fine. There's no reason for me to believe that that suction line dryer is restricted. Unfortunately, there's no pressure port on the other side of the suction dryer. So if we ever have to do any major repairs on it, I would change it. The only reason why there's a suction dryer there, by the way, too, it's not an acid cleanup. About 5 or 6 years ago, this is the location that tweakers got over here and stole the suction line all the way up to the compressor. They freaking kicked it off with their feet and ripped it out, and then stole all the copper from all the ACs on the roof too. That was probably, actually that was just coming out of COVID. That was probably like 5 or 6 years ago now. But yeah, that was a trip. So we came back, the compressor, we didn't change the compressor. We used the same compressor because I came out that night. We just repiped it and I threw in a suction filter dryer just to be safe, because I didn't know if there was contaminants in it. So it's not like it's cleaning up acid or anything. Yeah. But I really wish that the suction port was on the other side, so that way we could do a pressure drop across the dryer. That would be nice. Temperature drop won't work. I've said it before mistakenly to check the temp drop across the suction dryer, but you can't, because a liquid dryer has liquid refrigerant. So if the dryer is restricted, then it acts as a metering device, and you would see a temperature drop, right? Because you've got liquid on one side of the dryer and then potentially no liquid because it's flashing off as it's coming out of the restricted dryer. But on a suction dryer, it's vapor, so you're not gonna see a significant temperature change coming from that unless it's completely blocked to where it shuts off. Yeah, I guess it's not really ideal either that the suction port is on that side, because the pressure control is also not catching a low pressure situation from that dryer. So I'd really like to take that dryer out just to eliminate any headaches. But let's see. So this clock also is kind of difficult to turn. I know everybody's like, don't turn it from the outside. It's fine. So let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's about 9 p.m. right there, I believe. Yeah, 2100. I don't. It's an ICM timer, so that's why it has 24-hour or military time on it. Yeah. I mean, this thing is kicking. A couple things, like I'd love to see the suction pressure is a little bit low. I'm not really gonna go wrenching on the expansion valve right now, but with a low suction pressure like that, I guess it's possible that the compressor is getting a little warm when it's really, really hot outside. It depends. We'd have to do some numbers to see how the equipment's sized, because the evaporator TD is obviously really low. So if we look right here, see if we can find our condenser TD is about 22. Why isn't it giving me my evap TD? It should be giving me my evap TD right now. Oh, because we're missing our return temp. Like, it's probably too cold in the box. So we're probably losing the signal. I wonder if I put it up here, we'll get a better signal. Yeah, there we go. So it's just kind of hard because it's inside the box and it's communicating through there. So my evaporator TD is about 20 degrees. I'd like to see about 10 degrees, so really should get in there and open up that expansion valve a little bit, possibly. But again, I'm not going to do that at 9 o'clock at night. We'll come back. I'm probably going to get out of here because this thing's working. I'm going to tell them to keep an eye on it. We'll call and follow up, or probably come back out and follow up on it and see. There's little things, but there's no smoking gun saying why this thing wasn't working earlier. It's really bizarre. Like I said, I'm going to give a quick little rinse on the condenser really quick, just for giggles, just to be safe. But it's clean, and everything else seems to be working fine on this. Look at, I got a friend. Lovely. That's my bag, buddy. Get out of my bag. Dunsky. Gross. All right. You know, surprisingly, there is a little bit of dirt coming out of this condenser. I'm watching it carefully, making sure I don't get the motors wet. But yeah, there's dirt coming out, so maybe we were just off on high pressure today because it was really hot. It's pretty dirty. It doesn't look like it is, but it's coming out pretty dirty. So yeah, I'm gonna get in there. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was just high pressure. It's really bizarre though. It looked pretty clean, but sometimes looks can be deceiving. There was quite a bit of dirt on that, actually. Like, it wasn't blocked, like you could see through it, but I mean, a lot of dirt came out of it, and I washed it down. Went ahead and washed this condenser on this one too. On this guy though, I'm checking the condenser fan motors just out of curiosity. This one's allowed to run. It's not overamped. I need to get under there, but 0.55 is fine on that motor. I'll check this one real quick. I don't remember exactly what the current is, but I kind of hear a squeaking sound. That's why I checked it. I hear like a chirp, chirp, chirp every once in a while from that guy. So I want to make sure it's not like locking up bearings or something in there. I'm going to watch that for a minute, and I'm going to get under there with a mirror and look at what the current draw is. 0.55 though, I don't think that's a problem for that, but I'm going to check that one too. Both of those condenser fan motors are running right at like 0.49 amps, which is fine. I got pictures of the data plates. This guy's still running with a really wet condenser. So my head pressure control valve is actually bypassing right now. Or it's just closing down. It bypasses at 180 psi. So it's going to take a while for that condenser to dry out because it's cooling down outside. There's still some water on there. But yeah, I'm still going to follow up with them because like there was no smoking gun. The condenser was a little bit dirty and it was pretty hot today. Probably pushing to the outside of the operating envelope of this condensing unit. It's not really designed to handle 115, 120 degrees. It may have even been higher. When they do deliveries too, I've seen them stack boxes all back here. There was nothing here when I got here today, but who knows what happens. So yeah, I'm gonna start putting everything together. This thing's working. You can see that as the compression ratio changes, we're starting to really frost on that liquid injection. So I don't doubt that that's working. Everything's good. We checked the timer on the inside. We checked the temperature controller inside. I set the time on the defrost clock. We'll confirm that it's correct when we come back. The customer swears up and down they don't shut this disconnect switch off. It's possible they did, who knows. My first thing was did someone shut it off for the delivery today and then forget to turn it back on? That was my thought. That still kind of is my thought. But yeah, I don't know. So, all right, I'm gonna put this together and go home because I like to go say hi to my wife before she goes to bed. I thought of another cool thing to check. If you've never seen this before, these discharge valves, I've seen them close. You wouldn't think they could close on their own, but they do. It's weird. I don't understand it. Someone's told me that it has something to do with the vibration of the scroll or something, but that's not the case. So pop the cap on those, make sure that they haven't throttled down, because that'll create a restriction on the discharge line, make the unit run high pressure in the compressor and throw things off. But no, that's not the case. So, all right, yeah, just wrapping it up.
Problems like this are, you know, they're a pain in the butt. We call these intermittent problems. We don't know exactly what happened. There was not one smoking gun saying this was the, you know, boom, right in your face. Usually, if the unit goes off on high pressure, it has an extremely dirty condenser. But I will say, when it's 115 degrees outside, that equipment is literally operating just outside the operating envelope of what it was designed for, okay? They don't work very well in high temps. And even the slightest bit of dirt on that condenser, in theory, could have caused that thing to go off on high pressure. On top of that, that is a peanut-style, non-adjustable high-pressure control that was on this thing. If you guys couldn't see it, it was down on the discharge line. Those are known to drift, and as they get older, they will go off on high pressure, you know, too early, essentially. It is an auto reset, though, so in theory, it would have gone off, the time delay would have kicked in, it would have ran, gone off again. You know what I'm saying? So it would have been a little bit of a delay. So it's plausible that it was a high pressure situation. The other thing that I was really leaning towards, I may or may not have said it in the video, was they are notorious for turning off the breakers and forgetting to turn them back on, okay? Or turning off the disconnect switch out at the condenser. Because this is a walk-in freezer, it's an old school style, the condensing unit controls the power for the evaporator coils. The manager came in at 4. They said that the fans were running, but it was 30 degrees. I mean, it's always possible that a cook had already just barely turned the box back on. I don't know. They get deliveries early in the morning, usually around 9 or 10 in the morning, and then oftentimes it takes the cooks about 2 or so hours to put it away, and then sometimes, if you know, they'll forget to turn it back on. That's why they have that twist timer, but the problem with twist timers is they turn it off for the 15 minutes and they don't have the delivery put away in time, and then it tends to turn back on and then it freezes up the coil because they still have it open for another hour. Again, when I got there, the box was almost down to temp, so I don't know. But it was also a really long day. I was working a lot that day, doing service calls everywhere. I think I started at 6 in the morning, and then I worked all the way through the weekend. I basically just came home and slept for a couple hours each night. So it was pretty intense. So it's hard to say for sure. Okay, it's possible that it did go off on high pressure because even though I could see through the condenser, when I rinsed it, a lot of sand and dirt was coming out of it. Okay, so it is possible. And also it's possible that maybe they left the circuit breaker off. But, you know, who knows? It's since been a couple weeks since I filmed that video. Let's see. The date looks like the 6th of September. It is now the 18th of September. So they haven't had any other problems. Customers been happy. You can't say that I didn't do my due diligence, though. I went through that equipment with a fine-tooth comb, checking everything that I thought could possibly cause a problem. Sometimes, you know, solenoid valves will stick. Sometimes pressure controls, you know, are out of calibration. Sometimes, I mean, there's so many different things, and I tried my best. I pumped it down, made sure it wasn't overcharged. You know, like I went through the gamut, and I didn't find anything wrong. But again, by the time I got there, it was almost down to temp. Right, and they had put in the service call at like 4 p.m., but it was certainly, you know, 5 hours later because I was just slammed with service calls. So it took me a while to get there, but who knows? You know, like I said, it's been working fine ever since. you know, that's it. I really appreciate you guys making it to the end of the video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you think that it was going off on high pressure? Do you think it was like a brownout? You know, what do you think? Do you think that the customer left it off? Did I forget to check something? You know, who knows? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks again for making it to the end. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. It definitely helps out the channel to have more subscribers. Share these videos with anybody that you think would like them. Couple ways if you're interested in doing so to support the channel. The easiest way, the first and foremost, is literally if you just watch these videos from beginning to end. That is the easiest way to support this channel. Okay, it really is. You can also support it via PayPal, Patreon, or YouTube channel memberships. Those are all a couple different ways. There's links in the show notes to each one of those. You can go to my website, hvacrvideos.com, where we have these hats available, beanies, stickers, t-shirts, sweatshirts, all that good stuff on there. Last but not least, you can go to truetechtools.com. You saw that I was using the JobLink probes, the Fieldpiece JobLink probes in here. I had my Fieldpiece SC480 meter. All of those were picked up from TrueTech Tools. I do have an affiliate program set up with TrueTech Tools, so if you use my offer code, big picture, one word, you'll get an 8% discount on majority of the items at TrueTech Tools, and I get a small commission from that. So it's a great way to help support the channel if you're interested in doing that. Again, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate you, and we will catch you on the next one.